Good morning, students. In this lecture, we will discuss about the professional ethics. So, what is an ethics? So, ethics is basically a fundamental aspect of professional conduct guiding individuals in making decisions that align with moral principles. So, basically, the term ethics it refers to any philosophical theory of what is morally right, wrong, or morally good, evil, and a system or code of the moral norms, some principles, values, as well as the philosophical study of moral right and wrong. Means what is morally good or can be morally bad. And these are linked, that ethics, to the specific civilization, professionals, religions, or any other group. So basically, its subject is the nature of ultimate value and the standards by which human activities may be considered right or wrong. So, defining the professional ethics, basically, that I have told. So, ethics is considered as a guiding compass for human behavior and which aligns towards the boundary between what is morally right and wrong. Even it encompasses a set of principles, values, standards that individuals use to make decisions and conduct themselves in the manner that aligns with accepted notions of morality. So, in terms of the professional ethics is basically the application of ethical principles within a specific professional context. It basically outlines the standards of conduct and behavior expected of the individuals within their respective professions. So these standards are basically designed to ensure the integrity, honesty, and responsibility in the professional ethics. So apart from professional ethics, so there is the business ethics. So business ethics, this basically extends the ethical consideration to the domain of commerce and business interaction, where it involves basically the making moral decisions in the conduct of business, considering the impact of various stakeholders like customers, employees, shareholders, and the society members. So business ethics seems to basically related to the profitability within the responsible and the ethical practices. Further, based on the engineering ethics and the corporate ethics. So basically, engineering ethics is a specialized branch of professional ethics specific to the field of engineering. It basically relates the ethical responsibilities and considerations that engineers must uphold in their practice. And this includes mainly ensuring the safety of design, adhering to the professional standards, and prioritizing environmental sustainability in the engineering projects. Whereas the corporate ethics, so corporate ethics focuses on the ethical behavior of corporations as the entities. It establishes the policies, practices, and the corporate culture that prioritizes ethical considerations. So corporate ethics, they holds the importance of the corporation's impact on the engineering, society, and the well-being of the employees and the stakeholders. So basically, when these two are there, engineering ethics and corporate ethics, so there are also the role for the personal ethics and the code of ethics, which are correlated there. So talking about these things, so the personal ethics, here comes the professionalism. So personal ethics, it forms an individual internal moral compass shaped by the personal values, beliefs, and principles. And following this personal ethics, the code of ethics that is mostly defined by the institutional engineers in India, they have a specific code of ethics that provides comprehensive guidelines for the ethical conduct within the engineering profession. So, this code serves as a reference for the members, establishing the expectations and standards of behavior that contribute to the integrity and professionalism of the engineering community. So, professionalism that I have told. So, a profession is a basically the vocation that requires specialized knowledge, skill, ethical responsibilities. So, talking about the professionalism involves the qualities, conduct, and methods that characterize the professional. And related to that, the professional responsibility, it basically encompasses the obligations professionals have to the client, colleague, and society as a whole. So, the professional ethics, they are basically forming the ethical foundation that guides the professional in fulfilling their responsibility with the integrity. So earlier I have also told in the previous lectures that talking about the professionalism or the profession, so basically profession is a job or a occupation that helps a person to earn a living, and the criteria related to the profession are expertise in the topic, some self-regulations, and public benefit. So, in related to that, what is the professionalism? Professionalism basically encompasses all aspects of certain professional practices. It relates with the engineering skills, the responsibilities, and it contains a specific set of values. And the professional responsibility. So, professional responsibility basically, when we talk about professional responsibility, we are talking about the ethics or morals. So, engineers' standards are enriched in these codes, and that's why the for the professional responsibility, the follow towards code of ethics is very vital. And in related to that, there are certain challenges related to the this professionalism, that is the conflict of interest. So conflict of interest occurs when an individual person's interest interfere with their professional obligations. So basically this conflict has the potential to compromise objectivity, integrity, and finally it poses ethical challenges in the decision making process. So a conflict of interest occurs when a personal interest collide with the professional duties or responsibilities, and it makes an individual untrustworthy. So whenever a firm or an individual has a vested interest, for example, money, status, knowledge, relationships, or reputation, so it calls into a question whether their actions, judgment, or the decision making can be objective. So when such situation arises, the offending party is normally asked to leave and is frequently required by the law. So in the these are the conflict of interest. Then talking about the gift and bribery, or you have heard the term the bribe. So basically, distinguishing between the gifts and bribery is crucial in professional ethics. So it's an important topic there. While gifts may be token, maybe a token of appreciation, or but bribery involves offering something with the intent to influence or encourage unethical behavior. So the basic difference is like a gift is something which that is offered to someone without expecting anything in return. So this is a gift. But the value of gift is frequently determined by the relationship between the giver and the receiver, the time of gifting also, and the givers and receivers' economic circumstances. So these all play a role in the term gift, while the bribe. So bribe are given in the hope of gaining favor from the giver. So its economic worth is incompatible with the proximity, timing, or that is wrong timing and cost. So a costly, just like a costly cricket match ticket, a desk clock, or a candy, or even a cash envelope could be given as a business gift. But bribes, so bribes are bribe, the term bribe is because of the timing of such present. That term is modified like the timing of such present. Means that you consider a gift from someone right before you to provide a tender, say to a doctor, a calendar, and the desk accessories with the bold names of pharmaceutical business is there. So such items are bribe rather than gifts. So the norms and frameworks have already been established by several multinational corporations. So any gift worth more than a particular amount of money should be avoided. So whenever someone is working on a company, these mandates are given to them. Like any gifts which worth more than a particular amount of money should be avoided. No gift with a brand name should be displayed on a desk because it tarnishes the image of an official or a public servant for being indulgent towards a certain brand. So, whenever you are promoting something, so obviously you are taking money for that. So, the receiver is required to file gift tax also. Sometimes the IT department should total the gift received and file them in the departmental books. So failure to filing a gift tax return is sometimes a significant offense. So even the gifts received from the by the authorities are constantly scrutinized and property declarations are checked on regular basis. So gifts from the same person on a regular basis should be reported to the Directorate of the Enforcement. So there are punishable laws for such bribery act also. So this is basically the difference between the gift and a bribe. So always means it's a by hearing a short term, but the meaning is very deeper for these two cases. So environmental ethics and responsibility. So talking about environmental breaches. So environmental breaches refer to the action that violate environmental regulations and it causes harm or degradation to the environment. So the professionals, especially in the fields like engineering, they must follow to the ethical standards that prioritize environmental sustainability and the responsibility. And with that, there is relation to the negligence or the deficiencies in the state of art. So the negligence basically here it involves the failure to exercise the reasonable care leading to the harm or damage. Whereas deficiencies in the state of the art that refers to the shortcomings in using the latest technology or methods in professional practices. So both the concepts highlight the importance of maintaining the highest standards to prevent harm and ensure quality in the professional practices. So with that, a certain code of ethics should be followed. Earlier, I told the institution of engineers, they have set some guidelines. So based on these guidelines, this professional ethics are followed or the code of ethics are there. So moving on to the next, that is the vital part. Another vital part is there. So basically, the vigil mechanism or whistle blowing. So vigil mechanism is basically a system within organization that allows the employees to report concerns about the unethical behavior. Whereas the whistleblowing, it involves individuals reporting unethical or illegal activities within an organization, often in the interest of, say, public safety or ethical standards. So, vigil mechanism is basically a critical component of the good corporate governance. So, it contributes to the establishment of a culture of high ethical standards, professionalism, and honesty. Whereas the term whistleblowing, it derives from the practice of British police officers who blew their whistles whenever they witnessed a crime being committed. So from this act, the whistleblowing term came. So you all know that whistleblowing is basically the act of drawing the attention of top management to something wrong doing within an organization. So a whistleblower can be an employee, a former employee, or a member of an organization, such as government agency, who is willing to take corrective actions in the event of misconduct. So certain sections are also there. Section 177 of the Company Act 2013 is there to establish the whistleblowing mechanism to report any unethical behavior or other concerns. So there are, if we consider the type of whistleblower, so there are internal whistleblowers like employee, superior employee, or any designated officer. Whereas external whistleblower, so they are the lawyer, the media agencies, law enforcement, or the watchdog agencies. So these are the type of external whistleblower. So whistleblowing basically it is the exposure to the any illegal or illegitimate acts in an organization by a person involved with the organization. So basically for the benefit of the firm, for the stakeholder and society at a large. So in India, the regulatory structure mandates the creation of surveillance mechanism for specific type of business. So we say, if we call about the whistleblowing, so you have seen mostly in the various organizations are there in the news or in the movies also that some different scenarios exist or occurs in a company like a financial fraud has occurred. So an employee discovered evidence of financial fraud or accounting fraud within the company and reports it to the higher authority or regulatory bodies. So in the movie we have seen the Harshad Mehta movie where the such kind of financial fraud has been done and that has been reported. So safety violations also sometimes there means an employee observes that unsafe working conditions or practices that are going on in the company and that poses a threat to the health and safety of workers. So in different chemical plants or the factories, these are a common violation there, the safety violation. So there are persons from there who report to the higher authorities. Then further the raid are being made to check the pollution control or the chemicals. Like mostly you have observed in the movies where basically the food production team is there. So the raid for the quality of food, the quality of milk is there. So various types of this safety regulatory issues are also there and these are also the part of that violation. So the whistleblowing takes place there. The environmental violations are there, like an employee becomes aware of the company engaging in practices that violate environmental regulations such as improper waste disposal or pollution. So they report these activities to the environmental protection agencies. Then there are some cases of harassment or discrimination, means an employee experiences harassment, discrimination, or any form of unethical behavior within the workplace and reports it to the human resource department or the external auditors, like the cases of the woman harassment in the job, or sometimes male members are also being harassed in the job there. So the harassment or discrimination is also a part of that act. Even the product safety concerns, means an employee discovers that the company is aware of the defect or safety issues related to the products, but it is not taking appropriate actions. So in lieu of that, when he is not taking appropriate actions, the employee reports this information to the relevant consumer protection agencies. Even the bribery is there or the corruption is there. So an employee, suppose an employee becomes aware of the bribery or corruption or unethical practices involved with the company and report it to the law enforcement agencies or regulatory bodies. Even in the IT firms, an employee discovers unauthorized access or mishandling of the sensitive customer data within the company and report to the data protection authorities. So there are some contractual violations also, like an employee that learns that the company is involved in unethical practices related to the contract, such as bid rigging or manipulating procurement processes. So they also report it to the appropriate authorities. Even sometimes the employee becomes aware that the company is providing false or misleading financial information to the stakeholders, investors, regulatory bodies. So they report it to the financial regulations. So because of these things, sometimes you can observe that the share market can also fall. So because of the company informations which are sometimes going wrong, and these are being reported to the financial regulators. So, as a whole, ethics is a broad topic and it involves the variety of aspects like the corporate ethics, engineering ethics, personal ethics. Then, related to that, the code of ethics is there, the business ethics, and the main thing is the conflict of interest and the gift and bribery relation. So, that is a vital part in this chapter. And lastly, the vigil mechanism and whistleblowing consent. So, this is the end of that first module. So basically that I am talking about, that is the ethics. So many times you have to follow certain things based on your ethics. So like related to that ethics, I have also told certain stories in the previous lectures. So one story is also related to that, that comes in the mind. Like you all know that Yudhishthir is the eldest Pandavas there. So he engaged in the game of dice, and that leads to the loss of his kingdom and the reputation also. So this story basically explores the consequences of the related to the blind observation to the authority and ethical implications of participating in a unjust game. So that he has been betrayed by Yudhishthira, has been betrayed by Shakuni, and finally he lost the game. So Yudhishthira as a king, in terms of professional practices, if you say, he faces the challenges of upholding his dilemma or the dharma in his role. And this story basically reflects the complexities of leadership and decision making. So that is uh, correlating with the ethics. So here also ethics also plays a major role.